recording, that is rolling. And I'll do a clap and we'll start. Okay. Morning View documentary with Hiroki and Kazuya.
Just to start, I will be asking you the questions. My name is Shania. If you're comfortable, please look into the camera lens when you answer. If it's hard to do that, you can look at me and I'm sitting kind of behind the camera. And then when you answer the questions, if you could include the answer in the question. So if I ask you, why do you like art? Then you say, I like art because, and so, yeah, just so, because our voices aren't going to be in the film, so you're not going to hear us ask the question. So if you could just sort of repeat what we say a little bit when you answer. Are you guys ready to begin? Okay. So to start, how do you know each other? And how did you know Sony? And how did you feel about the collaboration?
Okay, okay. Yeah, actually, I don't remember how we meet each other for the first time clearly, but maybe we met probably 10 years ago at a kind of artist, like curator, art-related people gathering. But actually, we had not been in contact for some time since then. But when I was asked to participate in this Asatsuyu project by Sony, I came up with contacting him to make some collaborative work. So this is maybe a few years ago. And the second question is, how did...
So how did you feel about working together?
Yeah, I feel very comfortable with collaborating him because actually at the first time, at the beginning of the project, we decided not to make so much consensus, and we tried to put some emphasis on the difference or dissensus of our opinions or views in the process of collaboration. So I like that kind of collaborative way, so I feel comfortable. I don't know how he feels about collaboration.
コラボレーション一番最初に山本さんと会ったのは、何かのそういうアート系のイベントだったと思うんですけど、僕もそんなにその時どういう会話をしたとかは覚えていなくて。
Yeah, okay, I will translate him. Yeah, I met Yamamoto-san for the first time, probably 10 years ago, at some like artist gathering, but I don't remember what kind of topics we talk about each other.
しばらく全然連絡取ってなかったんですけど、Facebook のメッセンジャーでなんかこういうプロジェクトをやってて一緒にやらないかっていう話をもらって久しぶりにやり取りをするようになったという感じです。
I had not been in contact with him for a while since then, but I received him from like via Facebook message about starting this project. Then, so several years ago, we started some collaboration project.
で、2つ目の質問なんですけど、僕は今回コラボレーションするのは初めてで、面白いなと思った一つのポイントは、作品を作る上での責任みたいなものがちょっと分散されるなという感じがありました。
Actually, this is my first time to make this kind of collaboration. What I found interesting in collaboration in making like artwork is that the responsibility will be kind of divided.
で、そのことによってなんか普段であれば、大胆なチャレンジングなことができないようなシチュエーションでもすごく何か実験的なことをやってみたり大きなことに挑戦するっていうことが なんか僕の場合はコラボレーションの方がしやすかったなっていう実感がありました。
Okay, it's difficult to answer. Okay, because of less responsibility, like divided in like collaborative partner, I can be more ambitious or challenging that I cannot do by myself alone.
以上です。
That's it.
So, as Japanese artists, what was your knowledge about Zainichi before making this documentary, and what prompted you to make this documentary?
Okay. Yeah, actually, my doctoral dissertation was on the relationship between the post-colonial situation in East Asia and the birth of socio-political artistic practice in the same area. So therefore, I had studied in my own way the historical background of Zainichi Koreans, Koreans living in Japan, and its related issues. However, I knew almost nothing about the history of North Korean repatriation project. That is the main topic of Asatsui project. And in my opinion, like some part of post-colonial issues in East Asia are well known, and some are not well known. So Zainichi Korean issue are kind of well known in Japan, but repatriation project to North Korea is not well known. So when we creating this work, one of my motivation was to consider why some issue are known and some issue are hidden. Yeah, that's my answer.
在日
の問題っていうのをまあ知っていたか。
僕は、在日っていうその言葉自体も聞いたことがあったんですけど、その歴史だったりとか、まあ、その詳しいことについては、まあ、ほとんど知らなくて、まあ、今回の展覧会のテーマにもなっているその帰国者っていう人たちの存在すらも、僕はもともと知りませんでした。
Yeah, I know, I have heard of the word Zainichi, but I don't know the historical background behind Zainichi Korean people. And also I have no knowledge about the repatriation project, which is the main subject of Asatsui project. So I studied when we started this project.
まあ、ただ、もちろん今回のプロジェクトのためにいろいろな本を読んだりイベントに参加をしたりしてインプットをしたんですけれども、まあ、最終的にその僕がその歴史について、まあ、あまり知らないっていうこと自体が結構この作品にとっては大事だったのかなというふうに今は思ってます。
Yeah, so to study to acknowledge some the knowledge, I participated in many events or lectures in Japan about the topic. But like looking back after finishing the project, I think the fact that I had very little knowledge about this topic itself is very important to in the context of this artwork.
以上です。
That's it.
So could you please tell us about your work testimony? How did you find the person to interview, and why did you decide to make a film about that person?
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, actually it was Sony-san, Kumu-Sony, who introduced us to him. So in that sense, we had no choice. But because as a Japanese person, we don't know the people who return from North Korea. So this fact itself is kind of suggestive to the post-colonial situation in Japan, I think. どういうふうに木下さんのことを知ったかっていう、まあ、ソニーさんの紹介、いや、
まあ、そうですね、同じですね。
いや、the same.
So in your film, an artist recreates the interviewer's dream through drawing and sketching. Why did you decide to use this medium?
なんでドローイングとスケッチを使ったか、先に喋ります。
いや、どうぞ。
Okay. In my personal opinion, the process of creating this work was important in itself to try to recreate the dream he had. So that is the purpose. So in my opinion, I was not particular about the medium for realizing this purpose. So I think it was largely because drawing and sketching were, in a sense, very like primitive method and could be done without spending much money. This is like practical reason.
僕にとっては実は、そのインタビューをすることと、ドライングをすることの間にはそんなにこう距離がないというか、全く別のこととしては捉えなくて、その2つじゃあ。
So for me, the method of interviewing and that of drawing is not that separated. It is very interconnected each other.
2つに共通しているのは、彼は基本的にその僕らが聞いたことに対して、その彼が答える。でそれが、その言葉として残るか、そのイメージとして残るかの違いなのかなと思っていて。
The common thread between the two methods are when we ask something about him. In the case of interview, it is like left as a kind of language or description, and in the case of, on the other hand, in the case of drawing, it remains as a kind of image or representation.
その僕らが聞いたことに対してその生まれてくるその表象みたいなものがその言葉とイメージのその2つのパースペクティブで出てくるってことが大事だったのかなと思ってます。
For me, it is important to make both representation or image and language or description for a response from him when we ask some questions. So this is the important thing for me.
なので、イメージであれば、ドローイングでもよかったかもしれないし、オイルペインティングでもよかったかもしれないし、3DCG でもよかったかもしれないし、その中で、一番こう自分がこう、好きというか、面白いなと思ったのが、ドローイングだったので今回思いました。
Yeah, so to make some image or representation, of course drawing should be okay, 3D image computation is okay, but I like, personally, I like drawing very much.
以上です。
What message did you want to convey through your video?
Okay. Actually, I don't have any like particular like explicit message in your work. So there is no particular like content that we want to convey as a message. But we hope that the political nature of what we are dealing with here can be read in fact that it is perceived as unfamiliar by many audience. The fact itself is very important. So I believe like this politics is related to the post-colonial nature inherent in Japan as a modern nation.
僕もこれが伝わってほしいみたいな、メッセージはないんですけど、
Yeah, I don't have any like particular explicit message that I want to convey either.
今回の作のタイトルにもなっているその証言っていうのは、通常であれば、実際に起きたことを、それを体験した人が、その話をするとか、文章に書くってことが普通だと思うんですけど、今回その証言の中には、実際の登場人物が見た夢も含まれるし、現実も含まれるしということで、必ずしも、それがいわゆる一般的な証言っていうふうには認められないかもしれない。でも今回の作品に関しては、そもそも 夢か現実かわからないような話を、証言として出してもいいんじゃないかっていうことをちょっと問うてみたかったっていう作品だと考えています。
Yeah, actually, the word testimony, which is the title of our video work, is generally understood as like something someone speak about reality or fact, but under the title of testimony, we dealt with the dream the person had in North Korea. So I don't have a particular message, but I want to question if dream can be included as a testimony, or like I want to expand the notion of testimony itself.
ただ、それとは全く別に実際に僕らがインタビューをしている人の、キャラクターだったり話し方だったり声のトーンだったり、なんかそういったものの面白さっていうのを僕はプロジェクトを作る過程で感じていて、なんかインタビューの内容よりもそういった彼の声の固有性みたいなものをなんかどっかちょっと音楽として聴いてたようなところもありました。
Okay, apart from that, we want to foreground some singularity or characteristics of the man with whom we interviewed. He has some interesting like characteristic or like singularity itself. So I want to show that kind of thing through music or that kind of non-language in the work.
でその中で自分の中での今回のプロジェクトの裏テーマとしては、だから言葉を話す時に意味よりも意味と同じくらいそういった声のイントネーションだったり言葉選びだったりトーンだったり、なんかそういったものから出てくる固有性っていうのにもっと目を向けてみたいなっていうのが、僕の裏テーマとしては作品に考えました。
Okay, so my personal topic or theme in making this work is I think we can think about the intonation or like characteristics of someone talking is as important as the content itself.
以上です。
So I know you said there's no specific message, but is there a sort of feeling that you hope viewers would have while watching the video?
Okay. Yeah, of course it is related to my earlier answer, but I believe that the post-war world in particular is related to the event of colonial domination or colonial rule. So I would be happy if each viewer would consider how the topic we are dealing with here are connected to their own existence or their own nation. 何を持ち帰ってもらいたいの？ Take over, you said.
Yeah, take away.
何か持ち帰ってもらいたいもの
それってさっきの質問とまた
と関わる。
僕はさっき言ったことと変わらなくなるな。
Yeah, that's the same thing to the previous.
Tell me about the differences in the way you think the audience in Japan responded to testimony versus how you think it's received by people here in America.
日本での反応とアメリカでの反応の違い。
僕はアメリカでの反応をまだ実は聞いてなくて、どうでした
？Actually, I don't hear about like the response from a U.S. audience, so I actually want to ask you about what you think about it.
So we've interviewed like four people before you, and we got their opinions, and it was really moving to them. A lot of them did not know about Zainichi people before visiting Morning Dew. And yeah, one person in particular talked about testimony and about how they were very moved and captivated by your decision to focus on the dream. And by seeing that, it sort of started to blend reality and you know, like it sort of turned something imaginary into something real, and sort of blended those borders, and they also love the focus on the dream, because dreams don't necessarily have a location, but they still are in a way like an event. And Zainichi focused so much on statelessness and not having a place, and so yeah, a lot of people were really taken away by your video. In fact, we allowed them to talk about. We allowed them to pick what they wanted to talk about, because they're, you know, the three different projects in the exhibit, and a lot of them chose to talk about testimony.
Okay.
So it was well received.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, can we pause for a second? Can we pause for a second?
Sorry, we're just.
Okay, okay. あ、さっきの話ですね。一つはなんかそういう現実とリアルなんか夢、まあそれは結構上的なテーマで、けどまあ多分違いとしてはやっぱり在日の存在を知らない。日本としてはなんか僕もそれを伝えようかなと思ったけど、まあその見ないふりをしてるにしても、まあ、知ってるは知ってるんですけど、もしか知らないとか学ぼうとしないし、あとアメリカ人は本当に存在を知らない。その違いは多分。それは言うと、でもそれは言ってて、なるほど。
I need to go at 2 o'clock. I have a meeting at the library.
Oh, okay.
So that's
Okay.
Maybe we have only 2 more.
Oh, can I introduce yourself? Okay. I'll ask that one. Or,
just introduce himself and
okay.
Okay.
And our last question, or it's not really a question.
Oh yeah,
if
but
you
I
could-
have some answer to the previous
Oh,
question.
sure, sorry, she's closing the door. Let's wait for her. I'm really sorry.
Oh, sure.
Thank you, Maria.
Okay, yeah, I prepared a memo, so I will just read out. Okay, so first of all, the simple fact is that few people in Japan are unaware of the existence of Zainichi Korean. So most of them know the existence of Zainichi Korean, but they don't want to talk about these people. They don't want to learn about the history behind Zainichi Korean. So even though many of them are ignorant of the history behind them and the institutional or epistemological power relations between Japanese and Zainichi Koreans, on the other hand, many people in the US are unaware of the existence of Zainichi Koreans, with the exception of those in Asian studies and the like. So I think there is a difference in reaction due to this simple fact. And I also anticipate that many people in Japan are emotionally react due to kind of exclusive nationalism, which is very conspicuous in recent Japan. So this is a difference I feel. Sorry, one more thing, but I don't think US people are totally irrelevant to this issue as well, because US president or US government hardly criticize the nuclear power that North Korea government has, but U.S. actually is one of the biggest countries that has nuclear power itself. So this kind of relationship is for me very important. So related to the earlier question, I want every viewer to think about this issue in relation to their own positionalities, which is different.
And then if you could just introduce yourselves to the camera, because we forgot to do that in the beginning.
Okay, my name is Hiroki Yamamoto. I am basically working as a cultural studies scholar. I did my PhD in London about so-called socially engaged art in Japan after 1990s and its relationship with Japan's colonial history.
これは英語で使った方がいいですね。My name is Kazuya Takagawa. I usually make video work. It's including documentary or interviews, or sometimes I make a workshop for the people. I usually recently I interested in making verbalize